I was born in one of the largest slums in Africa, where I was born. Like access to learning is actually very difficult.
Can we go higher? Can we go higher?
Hey everyone, welcome back to Just What I Needed. I'm Dr. Paul.
Dr. Esther.
And if you're watching on YouTube, you know that we have an incredibly special guest with us today. As you know, this show is all about hearing from the audience, questions from you, and we answer back. So today's question is a big one. It's one that we've gotten a lot. As you know, we've gotten the chance to work all over the world. One of the big questions we've gotten is about what inspires us. And really, it's really to Esther, because Esther's the one who gets a lot of the questions, right? But it's, Esther, how do you stay inspired, or what inspires you?
Oh my God. And that's a hard question. But that's why I invited Precious today on the show, because when I got asked that question on what inspires me, it takes me back to pitch coaching, where I meet these incredible social entrepreneurs from all around the world and their stories. So I am not going to waste any more time, because you got to hear Precious's story, because every time I think about the story, and I've shared your story, Precious, with like a lot of my friends
However, you have not shared his story with me.
I have not, so Paul
Purposely.
will be hearing it for the first time today, even though I've shared it with tons of my friends, because I wanted him to hear it in live. But my friends, when I share that story to them, your story, Precious, they're all like, wow, you just inspired me, and that's what your story does. So that's why we're going to be sharing that today. So Precious, I'm passing it on to you. What's your story?
So my name is Precious. I was born in one of the largest slums in Africa, where I was born. Access access to learning is actually very difficult. So people live less than $3 a day. Um, I was born in a family of six siblings, five siblings. Okay, but myself making it six. Then I had a fairly my dad was like in the military in my country, and pretty much lost him at the age of 11.
So you
He
lost your
loved
dad at you lost your dad at 11?
Yes, so he loves education, he loves learning. He taught us that learning, like education, is gonna be the thing that you can use to compete in the world. From this, he told us that yeah, you're born here, but if you want to compete in the world, you have to get very educated. So from that onset, I started reading a lot. I could go to the libraries a lot, trying to gather much information. So right from school days, I was always top of my class, top three, first, second, the third positions, and always like an A student, like in school. So, but when died when I was 11, it actually broke something in me. So I think that was when I actually discovered purpose, because my dad was very good person, very charitable, always look out for the community around us. He also tries his best to also help and donate to other people in the community. But like when he died, I thought about life very differently, because I never lost anybody in my life as at 11. So I didn't even know what it means to lose someone. So I was always thinking he's going to come back. Maybe he took a holiday somewhere. He's going to come back. And then my mom, also one of the strongest women in the world I've ever met. So she had this meeting with us and told us that okay, six of us in the family. She said, "Don't worry, you're not going to get out from school. Everybody's going to go and complete their schooling. She's going to do her best, and you're not going to drop out from school. Everybody just like God is going to help us." Like so, she's had that meeting with us. We didn't see her shedding tears, rolling around the floor. She was just strong, speaking to us and telling us that yeah, so all the things that dad promised us, that we're gonna get it, like we're gonna get education in the highest level. So then she inspired us. Then I was like, wow. So how's this gonna be possible? Because I know that there was no way I could really get out from school fully if not like a miracle. So we started like hawking. Me, my elder siblings, we go to school in the day and come back in the evening, and we hawk the streets like with some goods so that we can support her financially. And then we did that for like 3 years. Then my
Can
dad,
you what did you do at night? Say that so that
yeah,
the
yeah.
listeners know. So what would you do at
So
night?
at night, so at night, I would read. I had this timetable. So when I come back from school, I take my siesta, and then I start going to hawk, and I come back by almost 7 p.m. and then have a little rest and go back and read. Wake up 4 a.m. in the morning, read again, and go back to school. So it was just that kind of busy routine. So my environment could not affect me because I never had such time to really interact with low-minded people. Then on Saturdays after hawking, I go to the libraries and come back by probably 6 p.m. So on Sunday, go to
Can you
church and
explain can you explain to the you mentioned this word, was it hawking? Can you explain what
yeah.
hawking is?
So like in some countries, hawking can be looked very different. It may look like someone standing on the street, but in the African context, like you have to carry the goods on your head and walk around the street like under traffic and all that. So I think I was like age 12, age 13. This like did this for like 2 3 years from 11 to when I was almost 15. Yeah. So that
So
was
put give us the image. So you have something on your head. So since
yeah
when
like.
yeah,
So I had something on my head, and then you have, let's say you're selling
you're selling
uh
stuff.
cheese, like you carry this cheese on your head, and you have to start shout like go where the like look for people that will buy your product because we had like this target. My mom kind of like gives us this target, so we were selling water. So my brothers were selling fish, so I was the one selling water. So I even brought out a distribution strategy where I could get more of the people that buy Coke. So we bought in bags, so we sell per unit. So I was able to get some of my friends that hawk with me to come and buy from me in bags. So I was able to finish my sales much faster. So, but then I was very intelligent. So when people communicate with me when I was hawking, they kind of wonder like because people that do hawk, they see them as less educated, or people that went to that their parents were like maltreating, like they'll be like, "How you go?" Like, yeah, but I said I'm in school, so they'll be like, "Why are you hawking? Like you are like." So most young people that hawk, most times they assume that they are very dull academically, and so when
Yeah.
I talk to people that I do work, they do also dash me tips and. But then I like I'm not sounding pitiable. I'm not trying to be pitied. So I'll tell them that this is a better way than going to beg for money or going to steal from somebody. Is a honorable way of not
Yeah.
breaking any rule. So but this
Yeah,
continues. So my mom was encouraged when I bring out my sales results every day. Oh, I sold this, and then dollar I made more than $3 a day every day as I go and sell, and that will also support the family. So sometimes when I sell with my distribution strategy, I get more than $10 $20.
wow.
So I kind
That's
of like
amazing. Yeah.
So let me ask you this. I have a couple of questions for you before we get too far, because you've said a couple of things that are really, really important.
Yeah.
One is that you talked about both your mother and your father, and it sounds like they had a very clear idea of what they wanted to be their legacy, and their children were their legacy, right? So even with your father's passing, your mother understood that part of what she saw as her life purpose was to see her children do well, right? So that's one of the things
Education, yeah.
that education was that vehicle. But that's one of the things that we talk about, right? When we think about sort of your purpose in life and what you're going to do, the legacy piece is very, very important, right? So question one is, do you feel like that is something that I guess my question is that something that you felt at that time, right? That this was important for both your mother and your father.
yes, yes, because where I grew up, like 90 80% of women around me, before they get to 15, they either get pregnant or they drop out from school. And then the young people were joining violent gang groups. So I could trace back people in my class. Most of them are now in prisons and all that because some they got into cult groups because they just felt like the society owes them something. Nobody cares about them, so they try to pick up violence to hold back the society out of revenge. So, but my dad already told us that no one really owes us anything. Like you're gonna what you can compete in the world is by value. You don't have to come entitled. And then if you read very well, if you learn very well, that the way people rule over you is by knowledge. So if you have more knowledge, the world will shift and adjust for you, and one day you will have your own chance. It may take you a while, but you don't have to go through. And then my parents work in the Nigerian prison service, so we see them jail people. So they like when people commit crimes, like they're the ones that like you see they go to jail. So they are the ones that maybe supervise those jail sentences in the prison. So they taught us the value of not committing crimes. It was like you see your parents talk about, oh, this person, this your age mate got into crime, so don't do this, don't do
Yeah.
that.
But that
Yeah.
was actually my second question for you. So the other thing that you mentioned, you talked about, you were going to school, you were reading, you were working, and
We can relate a lot to
no,
that.
completely. But what you said was that you didn't have time for low mindset people. And it's really interesting. It's such a powerful thing, right? That understanding that who is around you affects who you are, and it affects what you do, right? So understanding that if that's not the crowd that I want to be around, if that's not the crowd that's going to uplift me, I need to separate
Yeah.
myself from that, right? So I think that's huge. You talk about that in your book too.
Yeah, exactly. That, actually, I just posted a reel about that recently, about that freedom. You need to have freedom of mindset first, right? To be able to propel. But I love the third thing, I think, that I loved that what you said was this misconception. And actually, we think about that a lot because you were talking about when you were hawking, right? That you already had this whole sales strategy. You were already an entrepreneur at 10 years old, right? Have you thought about that? You were always an entrepreneur, right? You were always a strategist. And I think you mentioned that everyone thinks that, oh, when they're selling, right, it's about that they don't have education and strategy. That's false, right? That's kind of like the false narrative that we fight, right? Like that there's this whole argument worldwide. And I want to hear your reaction to that. There's this argument worldwide, and even with some of the listeners that think that purpose and vision and aspirations is only for the upper class and only for the first world. Paul and I have traveled all around the world and worked with everywhere. We know that aspirations and vision and purpose is everywhere. Everyone. It doesn't matter if you're a fisherman. It doesn't matter if you're a CEO. It doesn't matter if you're a hawker, right? If you have that drive, it doesn't matter what part of life you're in. So what would you say to somebody like that says that those people who think that aspirations or purpose is just first world?
So most times it's very easy for an environment to stop someone from thinking, and so that's really the magic of reading. Like it liberates the mindset when people read the right books and they sit around the right people. And for where I grew up, I never had access. When I saw a cinema, I was almost like 14 when I accessed a cinema for the first time. So when I go for debate, I'll go to debate for people in other bigger schools. And I see how they speak their their English. I'll be like, wow, those people use their English so well. So, but instead of jealousing them or arguing or giving an excuse, and I just go back and pick up all their English and start studying. So this reminds me of one of the projects I did, called it giving back to children of the inner city, the waterfront area. But I saw that anybody that were born in a particular place, there's always this box telling you that this you can't go beyond this. You need, like the young people especially, need to spend a lot of years until they meet that person that tell them that yeah they can. So for me, I already got that from my parents telling me that you can.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like you can, all you need to do just read. And then so I knew that okay, my dad telling me that I can. So but most of these young, because this starts at infancy, if those young people don't get anybody telling them that they can, that it doesn't matter where you're born from, you can, like you just your mind was given to you by God, so you could like imagination is free, you could. So I met this 100 kids 2021 in the waterfront. So that was after I launched my social enterprise, Bankable Wisdom. So I saw that I was disconnected from my story. I was like, oh, really focused on now the new people, the new tech people. So I felt like this. I was born on the slum, right? But I've not really gone to these people in the slum for years and almost like a decade. So I said, okay, 2021, let me visit these people. Let me talk about giving hope and wisdom to children of the waterfront. So I gave out like 100 books and 100 meals to children at the waterfront. So I gathered them, and I was so surprised when after talking to them, I thought these kids are too young to understand what I was saying. So I got my friends. So when they give these kids like the interview to talk about what they learned, they were saying what I learned today. Most of them were saying that what I learned from Mr. Precious today was that it doesn't matter where you're born from. Anybody that
Exactly.
believes in themselves, embrace education, can become anything. Like this were coming from these kids and their parents. Some of their parents were in that meeting. I could share them some stories, talk about the power of learning and the power of them believing in themselves and how the world will adjust and they are not so like they are not hopeless. And then if I could do it, they could do it. Like it may take them some time, but these kids actually made me to be very though. So I when I went to my second crying because I was wondering, like, I didn't understand that these children that was 9, 8 years old could understand such an important message, and I thought I would not be able to like like to communicate it to 100 of them, and almost all of them you see them coming to meet me through the pictures and
Exactly.
then celebrating their books, and I gave them the library access in their community. And I was so happy that I was able to do that with my money this time. And I was like, wow, like so it was like a purpose fulfilled for me. Like I could do this even though like I want to do bigger stuff, but I could do this on 100 kids. Wow, I was very, very excited.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And I think what you understood from that, right, is that all of us have an aspiration and you were unlocking it for them, right? Whether you believe in God or universe or spirit, right? You unlocked for them something that was already inside of them. And they just needed that person like you to tell them you can, right? And that you have the power within. And what I love about what you said too is that it doesn't have to be traditional education, right? Like you said, reading, right? It's just opening their eyes to the world and doing the work.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's one of the things that so Esther and I have had the luxury and the privilege of being able to work all over the world, right? So we've had the opportunity to see the barriers and the constraints that are imposed on people, on children, on societies, families, communities, from very structural all the way down to very individual, right? So like one of the I think the really important things that you said was that the environment that you're in impacts basically how big you are able to dream.
Ooh, that reminds me of what you talk about, big universe or small universe.
Exactly. So there are so many systemic things that are weights that are placed upon people that limit them. But at the same time, you go all the way down to the level of the individual. And if you are able to awaken that desire, that understanding in them that they have strength, that they have power, that they have value to contribute, and that is what creates sort of this groundswell, right? That eventually, if we do it enough, and if we do it sincerely, and if we back it up with our actions, that's the kind of thing
Yeah.
that starts to change the systems that.
But you
that-
should explain the small universe. Like I think Paul was saying, like people live in like these things of their small universe, right? They're only seeing their constraints or like their problems right here. But then if you open up to the universe is huge, right? The possibilities are enormous, and you have to get out there. I wanted to circle back to you though. So we interrupted your story, right? So you talked about how you were a kid and you were selling and you had the selling strategy and you were able to bring $10 to $12 to your household, right, to help your mom and the six of you. And instead of the $3, you quadrupled it to 12. So what happened after? So tell us the rest of your journey. So you started with your sales strategy, right, improving already, and then what happened?
So yeah, so like after selling that, so I think my dad's pension was delayed for 6 years. So um, when it took like 6 years, then it was paid, and then it was enough money to kind of like sponsor us in school, get some landed properties, and but then I already formed a mindset of survival, like learning how to earn some income. So I saw that I was very like very brilliant. So I know a lot of things. So I thought about it. So why don't I teach kids? Teach kids. If I teach people that have this income, so I was not paid like $100. So I was teaching some kids on maths, and then I was training them on reading culture. So because they see me go to the library and they see I can answer almost any question that they ask me in maths and a lot of stuff. So some people ask me, why don't I teach their kids? Can you teach their kids? I saw that, oh, I need to learn about children's psychology. So I started going to the internet. Oh, how does the kid mind work? So I started reading about a kid mind, understanding how to teach a kid, because the way we were taught in my environment was in more of a harsh way, like a little emotional intelligence, where you spanked, you're
Yeah,
beaten.
we all did.
We all
We all
did.
did.
So this time around, I was learning to teach children without beating them and like talking to them. And these kids were very exceptional. They they passed their like their competitive exams. One won a scholarship that was worth at that time up to $3,000, like a scholarship after my learning. So I now knew that yes, I could, like, that means I understand the mind of these young people and understand the mind of kids. So I wrote my first book then called Read for Change, very the new generation of readers. So that was when I was like 17. The book was on Amazon. I think it's on Amazon today, talking about reading culture, how young people could change their lives with reading culture. And then I took this campaign to over 1,000 kids, 1,300 kids in secondary school.
Amazing. And you were 17 years old, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, I just
Cause
want the
Wow.
listeners to
Wow.
hear this.
I
I
did
just
not.
want I want the listeners to hear that you were 17 years old teaching little
yes,
kids to read.
and this book was so difficult to get the money, like to publish, because that then I didn't know how, like I didn't learn about Amazon on that. It was because I love reading and researching, and I was like, oh, there's this way to publish a book online, but
Well,
I had
I'm in my 40s and I still don't know how Amazon works. And you were 17.
So yes, so I researched, and then I did what is called like a mobile book launch. So I was able to convince somebody. I pitched to him, so I learned how to pitch to how to convince somebody to believe me, because I knew that I cannot sell a story of pity like say because I was born from this background help me. So I felt, no, my dad already taught me that that's not the reason why people don't do stuff for you because you are disadvantaged. Never see yourself as disadvantaged or that. So I pitched to these guys and be like, this book will change lives. Help me, let's get this book out. So they will be like, then I now got them and said, okay, so if the book is out, you're gonna sponsor, right? They said yes. So I met a bigger sponsor. I went in his office every day. I went in the office for 10 hours. Like I stayed in the office from morning till almost 6 p.m. So at the third day, after like 30 hours like that a week, at the third day, he looked at me and like, you wrote this book, right? Let's go to the bank. So we went to the bank, and then he gave me at that time that was over $100, more than $100. He withdrew the money and handed it to me and said, I believe in what you're doing. But I wanted to be offended that he wasted my time for those days, but he was a businessman. I saw he's busy. Everybody, the queue coming to see him, but I knew that this person at least knew my story from beginning, and he knows I'm a very serious person. He knows I'm top of my class, and so he needs to help me because even though he's going to give me a loan, I'm ready to like sell and make back. So I wrote to my government, the ministries, and because I went to see my commissioners. I was just 16, 15, 15, 16, 17. Had that courage that you could just write a letter to a government minister, you send it to him, you go wait on the queuing list. So they'll look at you, what are you coming to do in this office? I'll be like, I came to see the minister, I came to see. So
So, well, that's another thing I want to highlight. I
No,
want
no,
to
go
say
ahead.
something. He was like 15, 16, 17, and you were cold email, like cold writing to government ministry because of what you believed in.
Yeah, I just knew that highest they're gonna do to me because I read Farah Gray's story. Farah Gray has this book called um 17. I think Farah Gray has this book from Farah Gray has a bet. It's called Relonia. Relonia. He talked about how he was able to do great stuff at 14. So I read it for I had a mentor that worked in a reading culture project, so I read from Farah Gray's book. Farah Gray is a Black American that he he met Bill Clinton at 14. So I read that story when I was 15. I read it. So I read it, and the book taught me about that you could do anything. Like it doesn't matter. So far, Gray taught all this about being a CEO of the 21st century on his suit note. So when I read it, I didn't think that Farah Gray is in America, African, so this would work. And one of the interesting thing about a kid's mind is the limited mindset, the like limitless mindset. You just imagine stuff. It's the adult that now tell you that this may not work, or you just want to.
Exactly.
So, but my mom, very
That's exactly
amazing
what I was going
woman.
to ask you, though. That's exactly what I was going to ask you because Esther and I were talking about this just the other day.
Yeah.
She talked about how when she was in university, a young person, she, along with a couple of other people, started a whole nonprofit. And she was talking about how, man, I was so brave back then. Like I was calling people and I was moving.
I
and
got
I was
like a
doing
free
it.
website.
And now, so many years later, with so much more experience, it's actually much harder for us because we're over rationalizing it and overthinking, and we see so many of the potential barriers, right?
Right.
So there's a beauty to the youth and the not even understanding what the limitations might be.
Yeah.
Where the everything is limitless, and you just
Yeah.
and you just go for it. And honestly, our challenge, I think, is to sort of keep that moving
Yeah.
into the future.
Oh, that's incredible. And you got that
Yeah,
inspiration from a story.
yeah,
I
so I
love
read
that.
a story from a library billionaire, nine step of becoming rich on Israel. But it was not really about money. The book was about social impact, how he gathered his friends, formed a book club, they wrote letters, and then there's this book also called Range for Change. It talks about the NDG, like the Millennium Development Goals, as at that
Yeah.
time, like 2014, it was not yet SDG. So I read it, and it talks about young people that have really done amazing things, how they changed their community, and they had the same kind of background like me. So when you read, you find out that you are not alone. Like if you're going through stuff, other people have gone through stuff, and they have come out like stronger, and then you just need to believe more in yourself. When I didn't when I had this stuff, never and my mom very courageous. Whenever she saw me doing, she says, "Wow, like tons of go for it." So I just kind of like, because if she told me I can't, it would have been difficult to try, because she just looked at it and said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm trying to publish my book." She said, "You have the money?" I said, "No, I'll get it. I'll get it." She said, "Okay, how are you going to get it?" I said, "I'm writing these letters to people, and I think they're going to respond." Okay. So she actually surprised. Like I made a lot, and this man handed me that $100. I think $120 that day. And when I walked out from that bank, I just had this rush in my in my skin, like, oh, someone betted on me. So just like a startup receiving like an investment. So I said, okay, I quickly went to the bookshop, to the I handed them that money. I said, please print me 300 copies of this book. I'll pay you for the remaining ones. So I got the remaining books, and I went to schools, the principals I knew. I gave them those books. I said, please launch this book. I can do a book launch. So launch it. So you just write and say you're going to launch with this amount. Tell me the dates you're going to pay. So I did that with over like 20 persons, and I was able to raise more than the $100. Then I now did a bigger book launch, raised $1,000, and did this campaign around young people. Then that's when I got into school. So when I got into school, I was more busy with because I studied in the medical field, and but it was a bit distracting for me at some point, because I was now focused on grades and the whole fear that is instilled on adults. And but I told myself I wouldn't lose my creative energy, because this fear of trying to be an A student, trying to be that, and then but then it was awesome I applied for 20 scholarships in school and I got one. And I had a scholarship that paid all my school fees, all my expenses in school for like 4 years. So I didn't have to go through that struggle like other people went through. Like,
Wait, but let's pause
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
You didn't go through that struggle because you applied for 20 scholarships. That's the thing that people don't realize. It's a 5% return. And like, even when you're talking about your book, let's pause. Like, those $100 changed your life, right? Those $100, the person told you with the $100, it's less even important how much money it was, right? The person told you, I believe you want this book, right? And that gave you the momentum to go after the rest of the money and do your whole campaigning door to door, right? And I think people don't realize that. Like with book launches, you got to go door to door, email to email, call by call, and you raise the money.
It's not just book launches.
It's not just
anything.
like, oh, anything, right? Exactly. Anything requires that. And I think with the scholarships, I think that was our last podcast episode. I was talking about in graduate school, I applied to like tons of schools or in the jobs, right? Paul and I have applied to, when we were in the job market, to 200, 500 until the right one. But there's so many people who want to quit. First, I'm sure you've met them too, that want to quit after applying to 2 jobs. Or they asked 2 people and they said, oh, this didn't work because I applied for 2. And we're like, it's not 2, you got to apply for 20. So you didn't struggle with the funds in college because you persisted. You went after those funds.
because I read all these things, and then like when I read, I want to try. I want to try. Then
I think it's such a fascinating story because I mean there's so many lessons that come out of this story, right? One of them is not just a vision, because we tell people a lot that you need to have a vision, but the truth is that what I hear behind your words is not just the vision, but a vision of the impact, a vision of the change. Like you've said, you've used the word change several times, right? So having that in your mind, but then the super crucial step of taking that from vision to action,
Yeah.
and having the tenacity and the commitment that goes behind it, right? I mean, it's
and fearless.
Yeah.
You weren't. You believed in your thing so much that you weren't going, oh, I'm embarrassed to go ask 20 people. You're like, no, people need this.
it
Right?
was important, right? It's the vision of the impact, right?
You knew that this would be impactful and change their life. So what happened after college? So you went to college, because I want definitely for people to hear about Bankable Wisdom, because
yes,
this
yes.
man
So
created something amazing through WhatsApp. Yeah.
yes, so okay, so like I go to college. Like, can you hear me, please?
Yeah, we
Yes,
can hear
yes,
you. We
yes.
can hear you. We're good.
So I went to college, and then the whole stress of college, like the learning process was different. But then I stayed to because I was trying to ensure that I experiment on things. So I was looking like, I now learned about okay. It was during college that I launched the 12 schools, like the 12 schools, like reading culture campaign, where so I saw that many people in college were just focused on grades, and I didn't find fulfillment in that. I was almost like an A student because there's like I got a lot of A's and B's and two. So, but I looked at it that this looks like bondage for me. Like it's not liberating. So I had to focus on what are my talents, what are the things I love doing, because these are the things I saw that these are the things that will really give me a voice in the world, not about the what I went to school for, what I graduated with, or it will probably just give me like a job. And I saw that I didn't want a job right from school. I always say that I want to be an employer of labor, and when I say that, people in my school would laugh. They'll be like you're being too ambitious, you're being proud, and why not take what's
Can you
because
repeat for the listeners what was your dream after graduation?
so at school, right, like when I was 17, like I got admission to college. So people will ask, okay, what do you want to do after college? Some will say they
Yeah.
want to work in this, like in this company, they want to do this stuff. So I said, no, I don't want to work in that company. I want to just work to learn because I read Rich Dad Poor Dad and the whole stuff. So I said, I want to be able to employ people, create jobs that society needs people that can create jobs. So
You
I
wanted to
want to.
be your own boss.
Yes. Yes, I wanted to be a solution. Like I wanted to be, I want to make a positive impact on everybody I meet, on and everywhere I go. I want to be a solution provider, never part of the problem to be solved. So I saw that unemployment was a very huge stuff. So if I come out from school and I'm looking for a job, I think that I've been part of the problem, not part of the solution. So I said no, I want to be. Um, so I was laughed at. I was like, oh, this
You were
guy.
17, right? That's
Yes,
incredible. That's like a
yes.
you're a trailblazer.
So I saw that okay, one of the things that could make me to be an entrepreneur, I need to develop my courage, because I saw that the mindset of someone that is seeking jobs different from someone that's going to be like an entrepreneur. So I decided to try things the more and feel at them and get the courage. So people will laugh at me for trying to do like a free campaign in schools, going to talk to kids. They'll laugh at me from trying to. Then I learned, started honing my internet skills. I learned how to run Facebook ads, and so I started rendering Facebook ad services to businesses. So I could do that in the daytime and then use my night to just. So it was easy to do. It was not really taking all my school time. People will be telling me that you're just doing too many things. You're just doing too many. What if you fail from school? Like, what if you have an extra year? So I'll be. That's not going to happen. So I'll go in the night classes, I'll go and read up and like kind of stuff. So I was just very busy. Like so but I told myself I want to try everything to not to make my courage stronger. So that was how I was able to build my courage. I failed some grades in school. Like one course, I failed only one course and I repeated, I got back a B and then people laughed at me, but then I didn't really care. But I was just finding my own my own voice. But when I got out from school, something happened to me. I saw that most of my classmates wanted to be like me because they
You
saw that
see?
I,
Wait,
I
let's
like I,
pause there. Let's pause there, right? I want to pause right there because I think so many people can relate to that, right? So many people are scared of starting things because scared of what people are going to think about them and laugh about them, right? Like they think, oh, if I start an Instagram, I'm going to look super silly, or on TikTok or whatever there is, right? Because I can't do videos and people are going to laugh at me. People are going to laugh at me. But you just said people laughed at you, right? People laughed. You were doing all these things, people laughed. But what they didn't realize is that by you trying, you were learning and perfecting and learning and perfecting, right? So, and it's not something that's like quick. It's not a 2-month fix, right? It took you the whole time you were in college to perfect your trade. Right? Like
yeah,
visions take 5 years to implement. And but when they finally saw the result, then that's what happens. You're trailblazing, right? You're going on a path that no one else has been on. So you're blazing the trail and they're all thinking you're crazy. But when you actually get the result and everyone was like, teach me.
I think there's something even before that, though. I think there's something even more fundamental than that he was talking about, which is that
Yeah.
that our societies tell us that you go to school and you go to work for someone and you get a job.
Oh, yeah.
And you should be happy with that, you know. And so I think one of the most important things that you've said, among the many incredibly important things that you've said, one of them is that didn't feel fulfilling for you.
No.
That wasn't satisfying for you, and we're told so often that, you know what, satisfaction comes when you have stability, or that satisfaction comes when you have safety. And the truth is that you have a purpose inside of you. You have something that you want to bring to the world, and that matters tremendously.
Yeah.
And no matter what supposed safety that other route might bring you, it's never going to be satisfaction for you, right? And so the fact that you listened to that inner voice, to your intuition,
To your gut.
to your gut, understanding that you had something else that you were brought on this world to do, and that you followed that, I think is tremendous.
That you believed in your vision
Yep.
so much and what you wanted to be. You knew that North Star and you freed your mind, to go after that North Star. Is incredible. You see why he's inspirational?
I see why you didn't want to tell me about it either. So.
You have to hear it from him. Okay, so keep going. We're on our edge, so keep telling us. So then the people, they wanted to be just like you.
but I saw that a lot of them they were finishing from school and they tell me, Precious, I don't know what to do with my life. They are now like adults. They're looking for that spark in them. Then we did this medical internship period. So I was just doing. I already knew exactly what I wanted to do. When I was done with school that day, there was this thing in my state in Nigeria. There was this employment company. We're trying to create an employment system for youth. So I was made part of the board, part of people on the board of directors in that stuff. So I was just done with school at 22, and I got that appointment to be part of those people in charge of board of employment. So I saw that these people, my voice, because I'm not talking about really how I'm not talking about a selfish stuff. I was really thinking about people, how we're going to really like impact the world. When these young people talk to me, I'll be like, find your talent. So I did a project before, like when I was done with school, called the Gold in You tour. So go to schools and some youth camps, talk about the gold in you, which is your talent that people have to find it. That's what going to give you a voice in the world. Even though you're going to get that from school, get employed, get kids, and wake up one day you're not happy because you didn't really think about the treasures in you, that you're given a talent that you need to use. There's a voice, there's something, there's a tool you have. So people could do it with music, people could do it with fashion. So this guy that just likes learning education, kind of. So after all this stuff, when it was 2022, I felt like all this is I'm doing looked like it was about myself. So I saw COVID struck so hard, and then a lot of people reached out for me for financial aid because they know I was working remotely online, running these Facebook ads, doing content for brands. So they reached out to me online, please help me with some funds. And then the ones that were married were reaching out to me. So people with kids and all that, and they know I love young people and children. So I could help some of them the best way I can. But then, and I thought about that. I said, why don't I do something instead of giving them those fish? Why don't I gather all these people on a meeting and teach them about skills that they could use to earn digital income, legit income, without doing any form of fraudulent activity? So I thought about and I asked them, do you want this? They said yes, yes, yes. A lot of people say yes. So I just opened the meeting. I will have 1,200 people from over 11 African.
Wow.
Wait, let's repeat that. Let's repeat that. Everyone started reaching out to you,
Everybody
and
reached
then
out to me.
you're, and then
Big
you couldn't
lockdown.
take, you couldn't help each person individually, like, right? I'm sure it was burning you out,
Yeah.
right? Like you
Yes,
were exhausted by
By the
helping
one-on-one.
the one-on-one, the free. I've been there, right? You can't. It's not sustainable for you. And so then you opened a meeting and you had 1,200 people show up. That's amazing.
yes. So we did it like called it financial fitness stuff. So I got some of my friends that were very skilled. They came to train. They were very excited to come and train these people because they were like they saw we did it the first time. People in Botswana, some people they even told their minister about the training that there's this training that this guy
Amazing.
free, and he we didn't know that something free can be that impactful. So they got skilled, and then I did it again. I did it again. So, and then they showed up, and but I saw that it was more of a rush training, 3 days and all that. So, and I also realized that they also wanted to learn from me, not from my speakers that I brought. Although my speakers were very helpful. So I now saw that June 3rd was when I lost my dad. So I saw that June 3rd is coming. Like I like my dad's legacy. Why don't I do something that honors his legacy? So the name Bankable Wisdom now came. Like I was in that morning, like May, thinking about what to do for his memorial, June 3rd, 2020, and then I said, okay, let me do 7 days of Bankable Wisdom as an online training. People who kind of like they pay like I think a $2 or $3 fee to kind of like join. So for 7 days, I'll sit with them every day for 2 3 hours on Zoom, on WhatsApp, teaching them about different skills, and they could ask me a lot of questions. So did that for 7 days. The testimonials was so amazing. Like we had 106 persons joined it. They paid for it, and a lot of people were just coming in, learning, practicing the testimonials. The group was very active. People were taking confession notes. People that were my seniors. In fact, my principal in secondary school showed up for it. Like So they wanted to learn how on the online industry work now, because then it was like before now in Nigeria in 20, then they will say online industry is for scammers and all that. So but then they're now understanding that yes, there was a legit way of earning. And so I got people. We did
No,
this
wait,
seven
we
times.
lost
We
you
did
for a
this
second, Precious.
like we did this program once a month for 7 times. So when it was, I think, June to November, right? When
I mean, there's so many things that are so powerful what he's talking about. I actually love the name Bankable Wisdom, right? We talk a lot about
Isn't that nice?
one, wisdom as a value, right? And the importance of wisdom having a connection. One, wisdom is not something that you gain at school, right? Wisdom is knowledge that
Exactly.
it's acquired through lived life. And at the same time, I loved how he talked about it honoring his father, because the
Yeah.
whole concept of wisdom is learning from your elders and right taking those traditions forward. And then bankable wisdom, bankable means it's yours, right? Bankable means that it's not going to be
Exactly.
taken away from you.
And it's something that compounds over time. That's what I
Exactly.
like about it too, right? It's
Exactly.
like for him, if you listen to his story, like his knowledge compounded over time. And so, well, we're waiting for Precious to come
No,
back.
it's such a powerful story. The whole thing.
Yeah.
I think when we talk, I mean, the whole concept of having him on the show was really about understanding inspiration
Yeah.
for us, right? And I completely get it. And I think
But these are the stories.
These are the stories,
Like
right?
when I'm sitting there, we've opened through it, right? When I'm sitting there going, I don't know if I'm going to make, like, my vision's going to come a reality.
Yeah.
People like Precious, the people I pitch coach from all around the world, come up for me.
But here's the thing. So there's a lot of recurring lessons, right? Things that come out when we talked about it a little bit, right? The whole idea of vision and impact and tenacity and commitment and all of that. But I think that what is most inspirational, like if I have to think about specifically inspiration when I talk to somebody like this, and so many of the people that we've had the privilege of working with, is people who have a service mindset.
Yeah, because you saw
Right.
it was about impact. And
Right.
exactly. I couldn't agree with you more. When we coach authors, when we coach, right? If you're looking for a book to make millions of dollars, it's not going to work.
Right.
You have to live by that book. That that people need to read it, because if people need to read it, their lives are going to change. I mean, that's the way I see creating your living life. That's why for me the book is evergreen, right?
Right.
The workbook's evergreen because, man, just last month I opened up the workbook and I was like, I need to write my
We keep-
obituary again.
Workbook
I need to
over
write my
again.
obituary again. I need to know where is my North Star. I need to know what that impact is, because that's the fuel,
Yeah.
right? But also on a deeper level, I know what motivates me is the vision. But it doesn't matter if your motivates you is safety. You need to know still what your North Star is and what can you control to get there. Even if your motivation is love and belonging, you still need to know what's that vision that people can support me with. Still, the vision is the first step. And I would say, what else inspired you?
I mean, I loved listening to him because one of my biggest value is growth.
Yeah.
And every time he said, I didn't know how to do this, but I just dove in and I learned it, right? He learned how to use the internet tools. He learned how to use the ads. He learned how to, create all of these things. And he didn't let his current lack of knowledge about a particular
Right.
thing be a barrier, right? He
Exactly.
knew that he could learn it. He knew that he could do
Exactly.
it. And that in doing that, he was growing and becoming better and being able to better deliver
Yeah.
that service that he was trying to provide.
I also think there's another part to it, is that he never fell into victim mindset, right?
Right.
It's because if you hear that story, right, there's so many of us are like, well, we're not billionaires or we're not millionaires, right? If you remember his story, his family lived, there was 7 of them, right, with the mother.
Yeah.
$3 a day.
Yeah.
And he started with basics at first. I'm going to raise it up to 12, right? And then the 12 ended up compounding, right, over time and with education. And now, with his social enterprise, right, and his own business. It started like that.
Yeah.
And people are always like, well, I can't make it in 2 years. But if you notice, it took him a long time. He's still very young, but it still took him, right? It takes 5 years to execute the first thing. I also think that he took the other thing that really inspired me, which is I wish, and that's something that I can give to my kids now, is that he saw college more. And I think if we all have children here, or even if you're a college student, he saw college more than just the stuff and the subjects he was studying. Because I spent my time, even though I was president of organizations and things, I spent my time in college. I mean, one, I was trying to catch up too, but working and college and graduate school. But if you noticed, he took that time to test, to really learn the students and what they wanted and what they needed, right, to serve them. And I think if we can all change that, like there's some, like, it reminds me of this story recently. There's some people that want to transition out of their jobs, right? And I can give you one story, a bunch of stories in particular, but they're all like, I want to quit now, right? Sometimes you can't quit right now, right? Like, he had to finish college. He got funded through college, even though he knew he wasn't going to go get a job in the medical field. It doesn't matter. All those stuff he was going to use for later. I think Precious is back.
I think
Okay, well, Precious, we are summarizing some of the inspiration we heard from you. So we're talking about how we were really inspired on, like, that you never quit, you kept on trying, that you had this vision and kept on going. But I was talking right now about how what I love about your story is in college, like, that's something that I wish I would have done more of, is that even though you didn't go and do the thing you studied, you used that time to get to know the youth and what they wanted, what they needed, and how to impact them. And that's key, right? And you used it and you tested things on them. And I think the lesson is here. There's a bunch of people here that want to, like, quit their jobs or transition to something else, or maybe they have to take something in between or do something in between. Well, I that's why I like the 50-50 rule we have in our workbook, because you can be in a job. Let's say you want to leave and do something like a social enterprise, your own business or something. You can take that time where you're in that job to advance, to learn the things that you need to learn, to test the things that you want to do after, right? You don't have to see that as dead time or just to pass the time. You can learn what those people need. You can practice public speaking by doing presentations at work, right? And so I love that you used your college time to practice and test things that you ended up using later, right? Because some people might say, I even get that sometimes too, or like, oh, Esther, you're an environmental scientist and you're not practicing as an environmental scientist. I'm like, what I learned as an environmental scientist was how to problem solve and think like a system, and also talk to people that don't care about it and to get them to care. So I actually learned a lot through my profession that I use now. And so, anyways, Precious, we're turning it back to you. So we just found so much inspiration for it. So tell us what happened from there. I think we left off on the 1,200 people joined your thing.
so. You said, like, okay, a system that makes you try things. Or
Yeah. So you left off telling us you did you had the people training with you. You then expanded it on WhatsApp and Zoom. And so what
yes,
happened afterwards? Yeah.
yeah. So like I said, I knew that the bankable wisdom would take a lot of sacrifice. So I was ready. I was not really already doing any online. I was already had a medical degree now to go and maybe go and work. Like, I had this intensive, and then I already had people coming to offer me nice jobs. So I felt like, okay, all these things is about you, Precious. Like, now I'm feeling some that thing inside of me telling me that, oh, do this for other people, do this for other people, do something that can impact on African youth, on youth generally. Like, do something. Don't make it about yourself. Don't try to be like a celebrity. Like, kind of just try to
Hmm.
uh, push out your personal stuff. So I felt like starting Bankable Wisdom was like a sacrifice. So I said to myself that, okay, if I have one person support me in any form, I'm going to start it. So I
Yes.
set the date. So I tell my friends to, like, donate or like just put some money out of the project. So had this meeting, I'll speak to them on Zoom, like gather like 20 of them. When I tell them, they'll be like, good idea, nice stuff, but I'll get back to you. Good idea, nice stuff. I'm like, the world we live in, like, a lot of evil trends, and so when something is for a good cause, people shouldn't really be making excuses, because if we don't go wise together, the world will not be safe for any of us. So I felt like
Exactly.
these people saying no and trying to. So I said, okay, just one person out of all these people, and I'm fine. I know that this is the right thing. If I don't get anybody, I'll go and focus on my career and do all that stuff. So I had like a student that I've taken my courses before now. So he just did. I didn't even know he had that kind of money to give to me then. So he just DM me then and like, oh, how you doing? I think I like the idea. Like this can help African. And he was young too. He was just like he was like I was 23 in 2020. He was like 20. I think 20, yeah, he was 20 years old. So he just DM me. So I was not expecting. He just told me that I would like to be part of it. Have the money. So he was in he was in UK, and then I was in Africa. So he was like, how do I? What's the minimum amount you need, and what's the minimum donation I can give to you? So I told him I was
Nice.
not expecting anything, and he said, "Where's the account?" So this was like October 30th. So he's asking me for the account details. So I tell my friend we're in the room together. He saw me pitching to these people,
I mean, that's amazing.
and then he tell me that guy, like you're very driven. Like you telling these people that have never met you physically just to bet on you on that this thing will change Africa. This will, and then it's like, oh, I said if one person jumps on this, then I'm going to do it. If nobody jumps on it, at least I'll get a good excuses not to do it. At least I'll say I wanted to do this, I gathered people, and nobody shows up. Because I felt like I was more comfortable now. I didn't need to do this. Then this young guy, 20, sent me the money. November 1st, I gave myself, if by November 1st, nobody drops this, I'm done. I'm going to focus on my own personal stuff. So this was like November 1st. The time has gone through. This 11 p.m. and I'm waiting, sitting down on my bed, happy. I was even a bit excited that at least I know my inner self. I don't have to blame my conscience that I didn't want to do this. I still have a good reason that I wanted to do this, and nobody supported me. So I'll go and focus on my life and let us keep going. And then 11:30 p.m. I got a message and said, "Check your account. This money has been sent to you." And I looked at
It's
the account.
Wow.
amazing.
So I looked at the account and I was like, "Wow." I was like, so I cannot go and focus on my personal life again.
But
So,
that's what it, right? But what I love what you said is that you said just one person.
Yeah.
Right, you weren't looking for 100 people, right? Like it's like when people talk about views. Oh, only like 100 people viewed it. 100 people viewed it. It's a start, and like one person believed in your thing, and it was the person you least expected
yeah, I
because they
was like
believed in your
20, someone
vision.
at 20.
Yeah,
So I was really, even his mom, the other day they called, they spoke to me, they were so excited about what we're doing. And then I was like, wow, like if someone tells me that someone that was younger than me could be the one to, because all my life I've been
exactly.
was the people that are more older than me for help and all that. And so that person shows up and I was just like, wow, I couldn't even sleep. Then I was like, so I'm not going to focus on my personal life. So this is what I'm going to be doing. So for the last 5 years, this has been the major cause of my life, trying to help young people access skills, opportunities, and remote jobs online. Like they could help them, like capacity building trainings and all that. So this has been the things I've been doing for the last more of my stuff for the last 5 years and all that. So we launched an ed like we launched like an
Yeah,
ed tech, a social enterprise around it. And so people started taking courses. We had like our servers crashed twice, like because of the traffic, AWS server credit, like bundle. We had to lose a lot of stuff. Then this year we had, I think earlier this year, last year, we saw that our servers have more than 70,000 users, and this year 75,000 users.
imagine you went from starting a thing with with 1,200 people, 20 people, and now you have
70,000.
70,000 people you've impacted.
Yeah, so we saw that, yeah, like, and this is just us, like we've never received like an investment on this. Like, we it was last year we won the Western Union.
Yes. So that's where I met Precious, was helping him come up with his amazing pitch deck and pitch and actually get people to back it up with money. Like think about
big money.
everyone's hearing this incredible thing Precious is doing, but he did it on his own, right?
Yeah.
Like crowdsourcing. And then finally, right? Like
Yeah,
this last year you got finally MasterCard, right?
yes, yes. So when I got into the Western Union stuff, so I was not really a fan. though I was reading opportunities then, but I've been applying. So I felt like maybe these people don't really like Nigerians. Maybe I don't feel. So I started feeling at some point that I've been applying for a lot of stuff, but then I didn't really apply so much. I was just applying for few. Cause focusing on on my bankable wisdom. I didn't want it to be distracted trying to apply with random stuff. So I was applying for for some fews. But the Western Union one, I think I've applied like twice if I want it. So they don't give me personal feedback. They just tell me that they have several applications that, oh, sorry, cannot be selected. So I feel like I will ask them, why am I not selected? So I feel like, so nobody gives, like, they don't say that. So I now saw that, okay, so when they send me an email and they say they are going to interview me, or I just felt I've won. So because I felt like at least these people are coming to hear me to talk about my evidence, right? So I have a lot of evidence to tell these guys. And so when I blew up their minds in the 1 hour, I think over 1 hour interviews, and they were like, wow, like, oh. And then I was just expecting them to to select me instantly. So I was selected, and that felt like on my team and everybody, they felt like the global world has honored us. Like, it means that what we're doing now is beyond
Exactly.
is beyond Africa, is beyond like a global. And then we've never won. Before now, we've been winning maybe training programs in Europe and all that. That was our first US win, and then I was also among the people that this executive director of the Western Union Foundation talked to personally. That was Larry Bell, like Laura Bell. So we had this brain trust program where most of us were doing bigger stuff. Four of us were to talk to her and ask her questions about what she do, and she learned about our work. She was very amazed by our work when I had a one-on-one session with her. So I was the only fellow that had yeah, me and three other fellows that had such opportunity in the program. And then I was showing up every day for this then I met Dr. Esther. So before then, I didn't share my story. I was not sharing my story. I just
Can you imagine? You just heard his whole story, right? And it's amazing. And he was not sharing it.
yeah,
I
I
know.
just like you don't have to go and disturb other people's life with your story. You don't have to make people pity you. I feel like you don't do all those kind of things because I grew up in this background where we're meant to like absorb our emotions. We feel like people like no maybe people don't really care. Just do your big stuff and mind your business. Don't have to. So when I met Dr. Esther, she said on the pitch, the first question was that share your story. I was like, why do I why share my story on my pitch? So I like, oh, I have a lot of stories, but yeah, but and she said share the story. I was like, which story will I share? Like, this is a pitch that you're going to ask people to give you money. So why would I need to make them to pity me? So but I feel like a story makes people to pity. So but then she taught us the emotional connection with stories. And then I now realized that I accessed the computer for the first time at the age of 13. I felt yes, that should be it may not really be, but that's a story. I was born in one of the largest slums in Africa, and I knew that 99% of people that were born in such background, they never made it. They never they had the parent either they died of violence or like a lot of issues like health issues and all that. So I saw that yeah, like I talked through my life and be like this. I've not even documented this before. I don't even talk about this online. So people just thought I had like very wealthy parents and all that
Hmm.
because I'm young, and so they just assume that because most young people don't achieve things like early when they are born from very humble backgrounds. So when she said document your story, so I like okay, I carried this paper, and I was like, let me write. So I write a bunch of stories, and I felt like okay, this connects to tech. Okay, I remember people calling me in 2020 to learn skills. Okay, that's a story, and we said on WhatsApp. And then I didn't even know that we said on WhatsApp because I've forgotten about most of all these things. But when she started with like she asked me a lot of questions, and then I was able to bring out all the stories. So I said, starting on WhatsApp is even like a story. I didn't know that it's a story. I just felt we just did all this stuff. So I was able to. But when I got out that story, I felt something very something fulfilling, telling me that wow, like even though like you no more in this world, at least you've been able to like document this. so someone else can come and listen to all these things, look at the processes, and get inspired to do more than you just going out from this world without telling this story. So that was how I was able. So now I think last year we're trying to even do like an annual report right now where our 5 years of existence we kind of get all these stories
Yeah.
and put like a report. Before now I didn't care about all these things, and I saw that it was most of the funders needed, and this was one of the things that was costing me opportunities because they were asking for a lot of. So I just feel like telling you this, like, why would I have to tell you so many things? If you don't believe me, just leave me alone.
There's so many things there. One, Esther is really good at squeezing the stories out of people. She's a master of squeezing the stories out. But the truth is that your story is part of your service, even, right?
Yeah.
It's part of everybody needs to hear your story because there's so many of us who identify, we see ourselves reflected in your story, and to see what you've built and how you've built it and what you've come from and where you are now and your vision for the future. It's part of the inspiration. It's part of the motivation that you give people.
And we're helping people 2 chapters behind this, right? And so how are they going to know who you're helping without knowing what your story is? And our story is power. But we were taught to hide our power. And we were taught that, you talk about this a lot, about vulnerability is a weakness. And and we grew up culturally that way too, that if we share our story, we're kind of dishonoring our family or showing that we're not grateful for their sacrifices. Or they don't want, I remember growing up, don't talk about money, Esther, don't talk about our financial situation, hide it, it was kind of like this thing, like a pride thing. But if we don't share that, that's what causes so much anxiety and depression in this world, because we think that everyone is not suffering, right? And we think everyone has it together. And it's realizing that all of us are human and that all of us have gone through something is what helps us go through something. As a high achiever myself, I was always reading these stories and going, am I the only one suffering, right? That means that there's something wrong with me, or why is this so hard for me? And it was through other people's story, like you said, like the inspirational stories of other people that they went through hardships too and got through it are the ones that helped me get through it. I want to get into your book because to share my story, it took me 18 months to write that part. The how-to part was like 2 months. the story took me 18 months because I was so scared of being vulnerable and putting everything out there and the good and the bad, right? But then I don't know if this happened to you with sharing your story. There's a liberation that comes from it. When you finally let it out and you are authentically 100% you, it's this extra, where we talk about that next level of mindset. And that's what unlocks it, right? And so people talk so much about building wealth, right? And to build wealth, you first have to have freedom. Wealth gives you choices, but wealth doesn't give you freedom. And I mean wealth in all regards, not just money. But you need to be free. And until you tell your story, you're not completely free, right? Because you're hiding a big part of who you are, right? And what you went through and not reliving it.
I think one of the things that comes out of his story is that his parents gave him a wealth mindset, an open mindset, right? He mentioned that several times, which is tremendous. I think it's one of the biggest things you can give your kids,
Yeah. And that's how you made it to be the 1%, which is incredible. And you're helping other kids do that now.
So tell us about the future. So what's the future for you,
and
for Bankable Wisdom and your book?
Yeah, so after I was able to get my story, and then
That's true. Wait, we have to hear the success. He shared his story and got money.
after writing myself, I started winning opportunities. I started becoming more. I started meeting people, and then I could hold conversations with them. After speaking with them, I see big CEOs, and then they tell me, I just spent some minutes with you. You just like I didn't think someone younger than me would just inspire me, and I would be like, wow, like so. I didn't try to. I met like a lot of people in Nigeria, like one of the biggest banker from Nigeria. One of his birthdays, I was there, and then I was able to was like, thank you for like I was like, So it was so fulfilling for me. Like, so, but one thing happened to me when I documented my story. When I see opportunities, I was not bounced off on my first like if I apply, I don't just get that like I don't just get like a rejection email. Again, at least I normally get to the next stage where maybe so I had to talk to Dr. Esther again, and I saw that I needed my registration document differently and all this stuff. So I was winning an opportunity. So I saw that I just pitched the MasterCard Fast program instantly. I just won the opportunities instantly.
Amazing.
So I like this was like a day I pitched. In 2 days time they called me and like yo one of our winners instantly. So I just pitched like on 2 minutes, 3 minutes. I was able to take starts with the why, your story, go to the metrics and all that stuff, and then sound. And when I'm talking, I noticed I had more power while talking. Became my voice became more stronger because I knew that this matter. They started meeting with investors, even though some didn't invest, even as the years ending, some people are still calling me, can you apply again? Can we look at your company stuff? But I couldn't have been this confident if I didn't know my story. And then the next level stuff is that after she taught me to tell this story, so I started noticing that why don't I write a book to document all these stories? Why don't I like make it look like because I feel like okay, I've gone through a whole lot of stuff in life, and then what is the thing that I think that sells out for me? I think the Western Union stuff made me like a global change maker. Like when I won it, I felt like now I'm a global change maker. So I wrote this book titled From Slum to Stardom: How I Became a Global Change Maker. So I wanted to say before 30, but I didn't wanted to use that age pressure on people. So so but so I used more than 18 months to I think more than 1 year to write that book. So I started writing it from the Western Union program when we had like our storytelling. So I wrote different parts, but I didn't know how to just add everything up together. So for my birthday, January 19th, 2025, I started documenting it more really. And then when I saw that I was going to, then I won a bigger opportunity also. The one I saw in a funding for entirely displaced people. I also saw that I was also, then from the story she taught me, I now realized that there's so many things I knew that I've actually been through. Like when I didn't even share that story when I was 10. I fell into the well and, they took a lot of hours to get me out from the well.
Yeah, that's another
then I
crazy
noticed
story.
that. Then I noticed that at 11, I think 11, like we had to flee our house because of violence. There was a lot of shootout. Like there was a prison break around because my parents work in the Nigerian prison service. So some militant group were trying to forcefully take away their captive, like their leader from the prison that day. So there was a shootout in the barracks. We fled and all that. Some people died, and then we had to. So I didn't know that that was even like a story. So there was a program that I won this year, and everybody that needed to apply had to be internally displaced at some point. So I could reference that story, and that story got me to the door. And then I talked about bankable wisdom, how I saw that,
Yeah.
and then that was how I won. I was like, wow, when I saw the opportunity first, I never thought. Oh, I thought maybe I needed to be like a refugee status letter to be able to apply for it. But so
But you
as
were a refugee, right? It's that we think that our experiences are not worthy. You know what I mean? Like I'm the same. Like my parents fled from Nicaragua, and I'm like, but I'm not. Sometimes I have a struggle saying that I'm also a refugee, but I'm like, I am a refugee. But in my way, because I think about all the people in Gaza, and I think about all these other people around the world, and I'm like, but they have suffered more than I have. I don't want that title, right? And when we are so heart led, we're like, I don't, you don't want to take it from someone else, but it doesn't. But the thing is that your experience of fleeing was valid, right? That does make you a refugee, and even you falling in the well, the fact that you the resilience and the mindset that it took for you to survive that is also huge, because other people would just say, I felt like give up, right? You didn't. Like, I think we talk about this all the time. There are people who drown in, you should say this. There are people who drown in standing water.
Yeah, I used to be a lifeguard, so the whole drowning concept is is a big one.
So
But
and then
there's a huge
I didn't
proportion
know
of
how to
people.
swim. I didn't I didn't know how to swim. But I just kept jumping and asking for help. And so I saw that all these stories I never thought about that. I didn't even think that they were even special. But when I met Dr. Esther and I now had to go back and think about all these stories again, and I tried to document it again. Even I'm still adding some more in the book. That's why I'm
That's
not.
great.
Yeah, so I thought about it that okay, this story. Okay, I did this stuff. This past, so I shared my book, carried it to Kenya where I went to do some learning and also some speaking. So I saw that everybody I gave my book that read it, the next thing it didn't take 2 days they started messaging me. I was like, wow, like I've never been so inspired. Like it's been a long time I got this inspired. And I'm like, I'm not talking about money, I'm not talking about how people to become rich, I'm just talking about how we can be change makers. So I
Exactly.
talked about this concept on the book, the journey to the throne, and I said that nobody gets to the throne without solving the throne's problem. Like talked about the story of David, and then he didn't, even though they said he was destined to be king and all that, he couldn't have been king until he solved the problem of the kingdom by killing like the Goliath. So many people want to be leaders. They want the honor of leaders in the society, but they don't want to solve the big societal problem in their community. And then that when you solve that, you get the throne. You don't have to fight to be on the throne. You get on the throne by solving the problem on the throne, and then the crown will now come to you. You don't have to go.
Exactly. Service. I think you were just saying that.
Yeah, that's what we were talking when you disappeared for a moment there. But I talked about how at the end of the day, the real inspiration, because we started out this whole conversation with a question about inspiration and what inspires us. And we talked about the vision and having a vision and acting on it and the tenacity. But I think more than anything, the inspiration is seeing people who have a mindset of service. I'm here to make the world a better place. I'm here to solve the problems. I'm here to do what needs to be done to make people's lives better.
And that alone is what's going to lead you to abundance, right? Through service.
Yeah.
I also want to go back to your well story because when you were talking about jumping up and down asking for help, when you were talking through your whole story, right? Every time you've hit a roadblock, you have asked for help. And you've been provided, right? And I think that well story, you can use it sometime because it talks about your how-to, right? Your how-to is like, I can't do this alone, and people have to want it, right? And so people wanted to save you, right? You asked for help and people came, right? And so it has like a whole message of, I can't say that word.
Reciprocity.
Yes, that word. About that, right? The mutual aid. And so it's also a really beautiful story. And we're going to put in the show notes because your book is coming out in January this month. And so I want to make sure that when the book comes out, I'm going to encourage all the listeners, you only got a taste of some of his stories here. And so you got to read the book to get the rest of the stories from Precious because they are incredible. Like, you need some boost of inspiration.
This is it.
This is it.
This is it. No, and clearly we could go on having this conversation for a
So,
very long time.
Precious, I want to make sure is there anything else of your story you'd like to share?
Yeah, so then I wrote this book, and then learning to tell my story, and then encouraging other people also to tell their story, and then trying to document every process, because now I'm not thinking about it as just myself. I feel like I owe the world, okay, to pass out this message out there. I never thought that I didn't even thought I was that exceptional. I just felt like I've just been me. Uh, Being original, trying to do stuff. So, but my organizations, yeah, we've gotten so much impact, like telling our story, having people volunteer to do stuff for us, and they hear, oh, we want to do this thing, and then I'm telling them that okay, that the young people need this, they need that, and then I see people get more fired up to do stuff, and then most of the change makers. So I met a lady that she's just 22 right now, and when I shared my story in Kenya and I talked to them, she has even been interviewed by BBC and all that. But then those were not really good deep moments for her. So I spent the time on the on the plane with her, like on the airport, like so. But we talked, so I gave her my book. She read, and then based on my book is still coming out, I gave her just those. So she kind of call some of her friends, and they kind of like read the book together. Like they found like something to inspire. So she felt she met one person that understands young people, one person that understands the mind of young people, that how people could go and do stuff. And I'm always supporting everybody out there, like who that care about the future generation of people. The world is not getting. The world looks like it's getting more complex. The more people seek ambition and try to fight lobby and all this stuff. But the world can only get safer when we all grow wise together. When we start caring about the people
Absolutely.
that are left out in the world process. And then I also be talking to my friends that yeah, they should try to dedicate maybe part of their funding for like the future, like education, because you see that there's this wokeness of young people around the world right now. People really have less sense of purpose. They just want to just live their life, just go, and then parents getting so concerned about like their kids and how
Hmm.
how they're turning, like, and then the kids are saying they don't have a sense of life, of like life mission. So you don't have to be born poor to have any sense of life mission.
Exactly.
That's why I've never advocated like over now for this poverty, this whole poverty story, like all that. But that was my story. I couldn't take it. I could talk about a lot of stuff, but I couldn't take that from like for me. That was how I was born. So some people also we say, oh, would they need to be born for one particular background for their story? No, like if you start caring about people, like I did something around young people right now, training them to be change makers early enough. I saw that okay. I wrote this book. Then now I'm trying to do a program that schools are going to take like a reading culture, like a reading club where people will be change makers from that, and trying to catch them early, and that. So I'm always happy to talk to Dr. Esther about some of the things that because anytime I talk to her, it's like it's looks like there's always a lot of new updates. There's always
No,
updates.
this is tremendous. This is tremendous. And I know that we're going to be talking about this conversation for a long time, but one of the things that we love the most is helping people pitch coach, helping people like you who are out there who use the word change maker,
Yeah,
you know,
that are
and
heart-led.
that are heart led. And our, I think probably our greatest joy is helping that group of people elevate
Yeah.
and create
Because
create
you'll make it happen,
exactly,
and you're doing it for a
and
service.
to speak about themselves as change makers, as
Yeah.
global change makers. I
And
think
look what it's
I
done.
know, I know.
Now you're able
It's
to impact more
amazing.
people. So to close, right? I want to ask you, Precious, two things. First thing is I want you to I want you to serve as the coach. So to serve as the coach, and that you will answer the question for the audience, right? So if someone, so like the question is, I feel uninspired right now, and I feel stuck. What would you tell them? What is your advice?
So a lot of people feel like I think it happens a lot these days. People feel tired, tired. So I feel like there's something in them telling them that they can be more, because there's this voice inside, like even when you've done like a lot of stuff, you just start feeling somehow, and then it's not like a feeling telling you that you're not satisfied or you're not grateful. It's like telling you that maybe you can be more, or you're not doing certain things, that you're avoiding, you're afraid, or you're afraid to try some things that, like, for me in 2020 felt that stopped. I felt stuck of just working in the hospital, doing my remote work online too, and then I needed something. I knew that that part there will not be a particular amount of dollars guaranteed at that part, that part looked uncertain. But then I knew that this is what I need to do. If I do this, I'll feel fulfilled. And that's really what matters in the world. People do things that make them feel fulfilled, knowing that they actually did their best. So I just told myself that what is my safety net? My safety net is that okay, if I just have one person support me in this, I will know that yes, I'll validate this. Many times I've actually done things that even when no one shows up, I will like going through myself and share. Let's start sharing about challenges that we've gone through. So, like there's sometimes I had to be the only one, but then that voice telling me that this is what I need to do. Okay, and then I know that okay, this is the part I need to do. And then it looks like us, it's very easy to do the part that looks like there's a thousand, there's a million, billions of dollars out there for you. You jump on this now, you make this amount of money. So it can be exciting. But what makes it so not so exciting is that the part you thinking that you are supposed to do doesn't look like you can't guarantee the outcome. You're like, oh, if I do this now, what's my benefit? But that's what you're trying to justify. You're trying to justify it for your friends. So when you tell your friends this is what I'm doing, they will ask you, okay, what's that? So it may be like you want to do things for children and you know that you really need to do this, but you're asking yourself, where will the money come from? So you like, I can't do this first. I need to figure out this and that. But you know that this is where you need to be. So the more you stay away from those parts, the more there's a void in your soul. The more you go another day unhappy and all that. So you have to embrace that part and listen to that voice telling you that you can be more. And greatness is measured by the impact you create. Yes, money is so important, but then money is only important when it's used to achieve purpose. Any form of money that is not used for a purpose that impacts people, a purpose that empowers people, is like a waste. And this is what our society is dealing with right now. Money in the hands of many people that don't really care about people.
Exactly.
But then you have to embrace that part. And that part, like there's this book called Start with the Why. So I read it
Yes.
too, like Start with the Why. I read it in I think 2018. I took the
Yep.
course too. So it's like telling you like people that have caused the greatest change in the world are not the people with the most money, are most likely the people with the strongest why. So we look at
Exactly.
story, the flight story, it looked like, yeah, it looks sweet, it looks, but on the back end story, it was challenging. He was
Exactly.
really chasing money, like he was
Yes.
just excited about challenging how people fly and then kind of wanted to solve it. Like look at the internet story, the mobile phone story. They were not really driven by personal success for wealth. They really wanted to create an impact. And
Exactly.
even the tech story of Facebook, the other ones.
Exactly.
So there may be that voice right now telling you that you, this 2026 that is coming up, you can be more. This is what you want to do, right? So
Exactly.
why are you running away from? Why are you afraid of going that? When we do the things we fear, we give ourselves the courage to
Mm-hmm.
achieve greatness, and we also tell another person out there to walk a step and mile. Now, for many young people around me, they are able to do projects around young people on training because they have seen me do that and they saw me succeed in that. So they believe that it is possible.
For
So I see
them.
them now do bigger. That's one of my mentees. I see them even win bigger opportunities than me. But they
Exactly.
but because I took that step, they believe that they can.
Exactly. You were the
God is now a
trailblazer.
better place. So when we all do our part, when we all listen to that voice that tells us that we can be more, because that step you're supposed to take may not really be about you. It may be about somebody else there watching or thinking
Exactly.
that okay, if you could do
One.
this, I yeah.
Yeah, 1000%. And I do want to put a plug for my book and workbook, Creating Your Limitless Life, with Chasing the American Dream crossed out, because Precious, that's exactly what you're talking about. And in my book, I talk about a lot of people don't know what their why is. And so that's where my book comes in, going how I discovered my why and how you can discover what your why is, because your why is what propels you, not what society thinks, but what you want, especially for this new year. So if you don't know what your why is, grab the book and workbook, and also read all the books that Precious recommended and get some inspiration from Precious's book. So I'm going to pass it to Paul to close us out.
No, this has been such an honor to be able to talk to you. We wish you all the best. If there's some way that we can continue to help you.
Oh yeah, how do people find you, Precious? Would you like to tell us how can people connect with you?
Okay, I'm on LinkedIn and I'm on the Instagram. I think on Facebook a bit, but just my full name. And I think on LinkedIn my full name. On the Instagram is a bit of financial imperative. That's the, so I had like a nickname, but I think I'll pass out those handles to Dr. Esther.
Yes, that's all in the.
Yeah,
we'll
make
put
sure
it
to include
all
that
in the show notes.
Yeah.
So I definitely want to thank all the listeners and go ahead.
No, I'm just blown away. This was amazing. Thank you so much for spending some time with us. I know that our entire community is going to be so grateful to hear your story. And so inspired. So we wish you all the best, and I know that for me, this was just what I needed. So I hope that's the same for all our listeners too.
Yes,
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So here we go. Paving my own way. See you right, even on the darkest of days. I trust myself and know my worth. There is nothing but stars behind me. So can we go higher? Can we go higher? Together we're better to dream bigger and louder. Can we go higher? Can we go higher? Can we go higher? Together we're better to dream bigger and louder. Can